I will present some exploratory data here from, let's see, how do I move this one?
Keyboard.
On the keyboard, okay. On the relations between commuting and well-being for male and female workers in UK. I was asked by Jan to present something here, and I asked, what should I present? And Jan said, you can present anything you like. And I'm not into this transport psychology myself. I'm in the degree that I'm an environmental psychologist. I work mainly with the work environment. This data that we have is from a very large longitudinal study, mainly focusing on the relations between working conditions in a general sense and health well-being among workers in the UK. First of all, and we had some data on commuting there that has not been used for anything else, so I found that this was the way to at least make some use of them. Anyway, on commuting, there has been previous studies from other countries showing that there is a relation between the time and distance spent on commuting and different types of stress indicators. I have not gone through all the literature that has been presented there. I just took as an example, two studies by Evans and Wiener, who kind of analyzed or used it for commuters in the Manhattan area in New York. And they found that the time the commuters spent on the train trip, as well as the unpredictability about the transport in regards to timekeeping and crowdedness in the trains, related to self-reported stress, as well as to psychophysiological stress indicators measured by saliva cortisol secretion, which is an indicator used to kind of analyze stress activity or stress reactivity, I should say. I know that similar types of studies has been done in Sweden as well with the same findings. That is, the more stressful the commuting is, the more people, well, the more kind of distant the commuting is, the more stressful it is perceived. And also the unpredictability has also been found as a factor there. And the aim of this study was to present and explore the relations between time and distance of daily commuting and self-reported as well as physiological well-being indicators. And I split it for males and female workers. The sample was very big. It was 2,270 British job holder in very different occupation from 20 different companies all over the UK, from South England up to Scotland and Wales. The majority were men, and the average age, the mean age, was about 42 years. The range of the age were between 18 and 64 years. Most of them were white-collar workers. We tried to get a representative sample of the British workforce, but we know that the white-collar participants were somewhat overrepresented in this study. This data was collected quite a while ago, 2001, 2002, so it's about 15 years old. But we have no reason to think that things or circumstances has changed too much in this time period. This was from the first study, the baseline study. We did a lot of follow-up studies in this one as well, but we only collected commuting data the first time. We measured the two outcome items with first job stress, and it was a one-item question, which has been very well validated. It is, how do you find, in general, how do you find your job? And that was from 1, not at all stressful, to 5, extremely stressful. And job satisfaction was measured by 4 items, with a fairly good alpha. For example, then, all in all, how satisfied would you say you are with your job? And that has also been quite well validated indicator of job satisfaction. And for a small sample, a subsample, we had also cortisol, morning and evening saliva cortisol. One of the main purposes of this study was to see or to analyze long-term effects of job strain on well-being and health. And saliva, since saliva cortisol is quite costly and time-consuming to collect, it was only a small subsample of volunteers that we had in that study. Well, the results from the commuting showed that the average commuting distance was about 21 kilometers, that is 13 miles. And the time spent was about 30 minutes in each direction. The median, that is the midmost of the participants, spent 20 minutes commuting. Most of the participants traveled by car, 10% by public transport, bus, train, and 14% walked or used bicycle. The ones who used public transport spent the longest time commuting, 59 minutes. We also saw that men, to a larger extent, used car, while women used more than, of course, public transport or biking, walking. Men also traveled longer distances. And of course, there was kind of obvious relation between distance and time spent on commuting. And the results between commuting and job-related well-being showed that the time spent had a significantly negative correlation with job satisfaction and positive with job stress. It was, although not too strong, and it was anyway, it was stronger for females than for males. The negative correlation between, let's see now, so I say, time and job satisfaction was it was minus 0.93, and the positive relation between stress and commuting time was 0.100 or 0.12, you can say, in correlation. For males, it was somewhat lower. Also, with commuting distance, females had stronger relation, that is, more reduced job satisfaction and increased job stress compared to the men. It was not very big differences, but anyway, something. It was no relation between the type of transport and well-being indicators, neither job satisfaction or job stress for either for males or females. And we found no relations on commuting and cortisol saliva secretion, either for males or females. That was maybe not so surprising. It was quite a long time lag between when we measured commuting and when we took the saliva sample. So, I mean, the studies by Wiener and Evans, it was taken at once. They took the saliva samples at once after the commuting at the station, while we took them long time afterwards. Well, and the summary was that the findings gave some, although quite weak, support for a negative impact on job-related well-being by commuting. It was a small magnitude of the findings. It was not a very strong effect size. And as I said, the psychophysiological strain, the lack of findings there was, in our study compared to other studies, was probably or most certainly due to the long-term relations that we measured, the longitudinal design we had of this study. The fact that women seem to have stronger positive versus negative relations was probably due to the fact that they had more other job or duties besides the job, for example, household and caring responsibilities. Previous studies have shown that the total workload for women is higher if you include these non-job responsibilities or out of job. That is taking care of children, taking care of the household, maybe older relatives, etc. We were, or I was at least, a bit surprised to see that there were relatively short commuting times in this study. The median travel time was 20 minutes in each direction. And I think that such a short commuting distance may just have been felt positive for many of the participants, giving them a time for reprogramming between work and home. The studies by Ulf Lundberg in Sweden gave some indication on that people with short commuting time rather felt it quite pleasant to be having a little break between home and work in each direction. So it was probably, for many of the participants, the commuting time and distance was not long enough to kind of feel or be perceived as stressful. Otherwise, and that surprised me really, because normally when you hear, we are told that Englishmen always speak about the weather, but anecdotally I can say when I worked in England, people most often spoke about how dreadful the commuting were for them. So I was a bit surprised to see that it didn't have a stronger effect than the ones we actually found. Yeah, that was it.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. I would like to ask whether there are some studies, for example, in Norway, concerning the commuting to work and the stress. Have you found?
I didn't do a very extensive literature search. I don't know in Norway, but I know that there has been in Sweden. They are, although I told you, Ulf Lundberg, he used cortisol secretion on commuters in and of Stockholm, the Stockholm area, and he had positive findings there, but it was kind of taken at once after the commuting trip, and but it was also in his study found this reprogramming, or what to say, effect. So people with very short commuting distances were not affected. You have to come up to very long or fairly long distances and time spent for seeing any effects. But I don't, do you know any about anything from Norway?
Just a very short question. The commuting times, the video you mentioned is 20 minutes. It's one way.
It was, I measured them one way, but I mean, if you had 20 minutes commuting time to the job, you had it the other way around as well. So it was, if you should kind of settle what they had a full day, it was 20 plus 20 minutes then, so it was in each direction.
Well, if I understood well your presentation, there is no effect on job stress for women?
It was
for men, but
let's see. It was weaker
for men.
For men, for women, it was the correlation there. It was Pearson's correlation was 0.12, you can say, for men and for women, and 0.8, you can say, for men. It was lower simply.
Okay. So the higher distance creates more job stress for females, but not so for males.
Not that much, obviously, and I think it may be due to the fact that women's days are more full, not only with job and commuting, but also with other responsibilities, family-related, household-related. That has been found very clearly in Swedish studies, not the least, that women has a higher total burden of responsibilities if you include not only working conditions.
So if there is no more question, then thanks.
Thank you.
To Professor Rydstedt.